Hey everyone, long-time lurker, first-time poster in one of these divorce threads. I guess I'm here because typing this out feels like dumping the mess in my head onto a page where strangers might nod along without judging. I'm in my mid-30s, living in a mid-sized city in the Midwest. You know, the kind with brutal winters and that endless flat horizon that makes you feel like you're stuck in a snow globe sometimes. We've been married for 12 years, 2 kids under 10, a house that's more mortgage than home at this point. I work in digital marketing for a regional chain of grocery stores, the kind of job where you're always chasing metrics and pretending enthusiasm for kale trends. He, well, let's just call him my husband for now, is a mid-level engineer at a manufacturing plant, the sort that builds parts for cars you'll never afford. It started small, like those hairline cracks in the driveway after a freeze-thaw cycle. Nothing dramatic, no screaming matches or slammed doors. Just drift. Last fall, he stopped joining me for our weekend walks with the dog. We'd always done them, rain or shine, looping through the neighborhood parks where the leaves turn that heartbreaking red before they drop. Too tired, he'd say, scrolling his phone on the couch instead. I chalked it up to his new shift. They rotated him to nights a few months back, and the overtime pay was supposed to fund the kids' summer camp. But then Thanksgiving rolled around, and he forgot to pick up the turkey from the butcher. I reminded him twice, but there he was, staring at the fridge like it had personally offended him when I got home loaded with bags. "I thought you had it handled," he muttered, and I bit my tongue because what good does snapping do? By Christmas, the intimacy had dried up like the poinsettia on the mantel. We'd always been the couple who snuck quickies in the laundry room while the kids napped, laughing about it later over takeout. Now, when I'd reach for him in bed, he'd roll away with a sigh, claiming a headache or an early start. I started wondering if it was me. Had I let myself go? The postpartum belly never quite flattened after the second kid, and the yoga pants were a staple now, not a phase. So I signed up for that online fitness thing, the one with the perky instructors who make burpees look effortless. Dropped 10 pounds by New Year's, felt sharper in my work blazers. He noticed, sort of. "You look good," he said one morning over coffee, but it landed flat, like a compliment to a coworker. January hit, and the real cold set in. Not just outside, where the wind chill dipped to -20 and the car's battery died twice. Inside, too. He came home one Friday, reeking of cheap beer, not the craft IPAs we splurged on date nights. "Guys from work," he explained, stripping off his coat without looking at me. The kids were already in bed, and I was midway through a spreadsheet for a client promo on organic baby food. Irony, right? We sat at the kitchen island, me picking at a salad, him nursing a water. That's when I asked, point blank, "What's going on with us?" He stared at the granite countertop, tracing a seam with his thumb. Minutes ticked by, the clock on the microwave beeping softly for the timer I'd set on some forgotten tea. "I'm just not happy," he finally said. Not, "we're not happy," but him, singular. It stung like salt in a paper cut. He talked in circles, the job grinding him down, the house feeling like a trap, how fatherhood had turned him into someone he didn't recognize. I listened, nodding, my heart hammering because part of me had known this was brewing. But the other part? The one that remembered our wedding in that backyard with string lights and his vows about building a life brick by brick? That part wanted to shake him, scream that happiness isn't a default setting. It's what you maintain, like oil changes on the minivan. We didn't decide right then. Slept in separate rooms that night, me on the guest bed with its lumpy mattress, him on the couch because the bed felt too big without me, he said later. Over the next week, we tiptoed around it. I called my sister in the next state over, the one who's been through her own split 5 years back. She listened without interrupting, then said, "Give it space, but set a timeline. Drifting kills faster than fighting." So we did. Couples counseling, twice a month, with this no-nonsense therapist who charges $150 a pop and makes you chart your emotional bandwidth on graph paper. First session, we sat on opposite ends of the couch, knees not touching. She asked us to list 3 things we appreciated about each other. I said his dry humor, how he fixed the leaky faucet without complaining, The way he read bedtime stories in silly voices. He said, "My organization skills. That's it. One thing," mumbled like an afterthought. By February, the trial separation was on the table. Not a full divorce. God, no, we weren't there yet. But him crashing at his buddy's place a few nights a week, me handling the school runs solo. The kids picked up on it quick. The oldest started asking why Daddy's suitcase was by the door again. Work stuff, I'd lie, hating the taste of it. Financially, we pooled what we could for a joint account to cover bills, but I felt the pinch immediately. My marketing gig is steady but not flush, and his overtime had been the buffer. One night, alone in the house, I scrolled through our old photos on my phone. Beach trips to the Gulf where sand got everywhere, holiday cards with the kids in matching sweaters. Tears came hot and fast, soaking the pillow. Was this it? The slow bleed out of us? But here's where it got weird, the first twist that made me question everything. While packing his toiletries, that generic drugstore brand he swore by, I found a small velvet pouch in his dop kit, tucked behind the razor. Inside, a pair of earrings, silver hoops with those tiny turquoise stones we saw on a trip to New Mexico years ago. I'd admired them in a roadside shop, said they reminded me of desert skies. He never bought them. I figured he'd forgotten. The receipt was dated last week. Not for me. The card was inscribed, "For the woman who sees through the noise." My stomach dropped. Who the hell was that for? I confronted him that night over text, voice shaking as I typed. His reply, "It's nothing. Just a gift for my mom. Her birthday. Bullshit. Her birthday's in June." He swore up and down, face paling when I showed him the pouch. "I panicked," he admitted. "Bought it on impulse, chickened out on giving it to you." Impulse? After 12 years? It felt like a lie wrapped in another lie, but his eyes, those tired, bloodshot eyes, begged me to drop it. I did, for the kid's sake. But the seed was planted. Separation started officially mid-March. He moved a duffel to his friend's garage apartment, came home for dinners twice a week. I threw myself into work, landed a side gig optimizing social media for a local bakery, croissants and vent sessions with the owner, who was widowed young and baked her grief into flaky layers. Nights were the worst, the house echoing with the absence of his snoring. I'd lie awake, replaying conversations, wondering if I'd missed signals years back. Like that promotion he turned down because it meant relocating. For us, he said. Or the way he'd linger in the garage tinkering with his old bike, coming in smelling of oil and regret. By the end of the month, the counselor suggested we each journal our non-negotiables for any reconciliation. Mine, honesty, no more secrets, shared parenting without scorekeeping, and touch, real touch, not just pecks on the cheek. His? He handed me a crumpled page. Feeling seen. Not just as dad or provider, but as me. Fair, I guess. But as spring thawed the sidewalks and the dogwoods bloomed pink against the gray, I started feeling something shift in me too. Not relief exactly, but clarity. Like finally exhaling after holding your breath underwater too long. Little did I know, the real undercurrents were just starting to pull. So part 1 got more upvotes than I expected. Thanks for the kind messages, folks. Some of you shared your own stories, and damn, it's a club no one wants membership in. The "it's not you, it's me" phase hit hard after that first post. Separation month 2, and the house feels like a museum of what was. His coffee mug still on the shelf, the one with the chipped handle from our first apartment days, gathering dust because I can't bring myself to wash it. Kids are resilient little troopers. The youngest drew a picture of our family fort with stick figures holding hands around a blob that might be a tent. I taped it to the fridge, right over the chore chart that's gone ignored for weeks. Logistics first, because that's how I cope. Lists and spreadsheets. We divvied up the kid schedule like partitioning a pizza. Him Tuesdays and Thursdays overnight, me the rest. Weekends split 50-50. His buddy's place is a 20-minute drive from the school district, so drop-offs are a relay race. Mornings are chaos, alarms blaring at 6:15, me fumbling for the toaster while quizzing the oldest on multiplication tables. "Why can't Daddy just stay here?" she asked one Tuesday. backpack slung over her shoulder, eyes big as saucers. I knelt down, smoothed her hair, the curls she hates because they frizz in humidity, and said, "Grown-ups sometimes need their own forts to recharge." Lame, but it bought a hug. Financially, it's a tightrope. My marketing salary covers the mortgage if I skip lunches, but braces for the youngest loom like a storm cloud. $4,000 out of pocket, even with decent insurance. He bumped up child support deposits to $800 a month, wired straight to our joint account, but it's not enough for the extras, like that science fair project requiring dry ice and a fog machine. I picked up extra freelance, ghostwriting product descriptions for an e-commerce site selling ergonomic desk chairs. Elevate your workday with lumbar support that whispers productivity, I'd type at midnight, wine glass sweating on the coaster. It paid $25 an hour, enough for a buffer, but the isolation crept in. Friends invited me out, girls' night at the dive bar with $2 wells, but I'd bail, claiming kid duty. Truth? The thought of small talk about the ex made my skin crawl. That's when the second twist dropped, sneaky as a pickpocket. Late April, tax season hangover still lingering, I finally cracked open our filing cabinet in the home office. That cramped third bedroom with the desk from IKEA that wobbles if you lean too hard. Buried under W-2s from years back was a folder labeled "Personal, Do Not Touch." His handwriting, precise block letters. Heart pounding like I'd stumbled on contraband, I flipped it open. Not affair pics or love letters, thank God. Bank statements. From an account I didn't know existed, opened 5 years ago at a credit union downtown. Balance, $28,000. Deposits irregular, $500 here, $2,000 there, funneled from what looked like bonuses he never mentioned. Withdrawals? Minimal, mostly ATM pulls under $200. I sat there on the carpet, papers fanned out like a bad poker hand, staring at the numbers until they blurred. We'd always filed jointly, talked big about saving for the kids' college. 529 plans gathering cobwebs at 2% interest. This was a shadow fund squirreled away without a word. Rage boiled up, hot and irrational. I pictured him at the branch, signing forms while I was home changing diapers or prepping pitch decks. Texted him, "Found your secret stash. Call me now." He rang 5 minutes later, voice tinny through the minivan's Bluetooth as I idled in the preschool pickup line. "It's not what you think," he started, but I cut him off. "Then what is it? Gambling? A go bag for bolting?" Silence, then a sigh that crackled the line. "It's for you. For us. Remember that cabin we looked at up north, the one on the lake with the wraparound porch? I wanted to surprise you, pay cash. But then the roof caved in last summer, and the AC died, and it just sat. A surprise, after he'd been pulling away, forgetting our walks? It didn't add up. I pressed. Why hide it? Because if I told you, it'd be another bill to stress over. You worry enough, condescending, like I was the fragile one. We argued, me yelling about trust, him defensive about providing quietly, until the preschool bell rang, jolting me back. Hung up mid-sentence, collected the kid with a fake smile plastered on. That night, after tucking them in with extra stories, the one about the brave squirrel who outsmarts the hawk twice over, I poured a glass of the cheap Merlot and scrolled Reddit. Subs like this one, tales of hidden debts and midnight moves. His story rang half true. I remembered the cabin listing, how we'd daydreamed about weekends fishing, away from the grind. But the secrecy festered. Next counseling session, I laid it out, folder in hand like evidence in a trial. The therapist, let's call her Dr. Neutral, arched a brow. "Secrets erode foundations," she said. "No shit." He shifted in his seat, admitting he'd closed the account weeks ago, transferring it to our joint. Proof via app screenshot. "See? It's yours now." But the damage lingered, a bruise that throbbed when I least expected. Meanwhile, life churned on. Work promo launched. Spring into savings on local produce. Ironic, as my fridge held wilted lettuce and yogurt past date. The bakery side gig evolved. The owner, mid-40s with laugh lines like roadmaps, started venting about her ex's alimony dodges over coffee and crullers. Men think they're islands, she said, dunking a twist. But islands erode too. I nodded, but inside I was mapping my own escape routes. Signed up for that free mediation workshop at the community center. Hour-long sessions on co-parenting scripts and asset division. Felt empowering, like sharpening a tool I might need. May brought lilacs and school concerts, the oldest belting out a flute solo that warbled off-key but swelled my chest with pride. He showed up, clapped loudest, then we did the awkward handoff in the parking lot, kid gear exchanged like contraband. "How's the new place?" I asked, probing. His buddy's garage was temporary. He'd found a studio apartment in the old mill district, the kind with exposed brick and rent that ate half his check. "Loud neighbors," he grumbled, "but it's mine." Mine. The word hung, a quiet claim. We hugged goodbye, brief, sibling-like, and I drove home with the windows down, wind whipping my hair, wondering if this was grief or freedom. Then, the unexpected gut punch. A voicemail from his mom, voice wobbly like she'd been crying. "Sweetie, he's not telling you everything." Call me. What the hell? She'd always been the warm type, baking pies for every holiday, but distant on the marriage stuff. "You two work it out." I dialed back, heart in throat. She spilled. He'd been diagnosed with early-stage sleep apnea 6 months back, the kind that leaves you gassed and irritable. CPAP machine in the closet, pills trialed and ditched. "He didn't want to burden you," she said. "Thought he could tough it out. Buried another secret, this one medical, not financial." Rage mixed with pity. How long had he suffered alone, snoring through nights while I scrolled Insta for relationship hacks? Texted him, "Your mom called." "Why?" His reply, "Because I can't sleep and it's killing me inside." Not just the machine, us, vulnerability, raw as an open wound. That shifted the tide. I researched, forums full of spouses navigating health curves in marriages, tips on shared doctor visits. Suggested we go together to his specialist neutral ground. He agreed, hesitant. The appointment was clinical. Wires, monitors, a prescription tweak. Driving home, silence thick as fog. "I hid it because I felt broken," he said finally, "like I couldn't even breathe right for you." I reached for his hand at a stoplight, squeezed. Not forgiveness, but a thread. Back home, the house still echoed, but softer now, like an empty stage waiting for the next act. Kids asked fewer questions, routine was settling in. I journaled my non-negotiables again, added health transparency. But as June loomed with its sticky heat, I wondered, was this salvage or just delaying the inevitable split? Update time, Reddit fam. Your DMs and comments from part 2 were a lifeline. That one about secrets are termites hit home hard. Separations at the 4-month mark, and we're knee-deep in the legal muck. Never thought I'd be the one Googling uncontested divorce pros cons at 2 a.m. But here we are. The sleep apnea reveal cracked something open. We went to 3 more specialist visits, him hooked to that whirring mask while I held his hand under the exam table. It helped. His energy ticked up, fewer headaches excuses. But trust? That's a Jenga tower, wobbly after too many pulls. We decided to formalize. Not a scorched earth battle, but papers drawn up. I found a lawyer through the bakery owner, this sharp-dressed woman in her 50s, office smelling of leather and lemon polish, who charges $250 per hour, but cuts pro bono hours for single moms. First consult, I spilled the basics. 12 years, 2 minors, house in both names, debts mostly student loans from my undergrad. His are paid off, lucky bastard. She nodded, jotting notes on a legal pad with a Mont Blanc that probably cost more than my monthly car payment. "Aim for amicable," she said. "Saves sanity and wallet." We drafted a separation agreement, 50-50 custody, alimony bridge of $1,000 per month for a year. My marketing pay lags his engineering. House to sell in 2 years, or I buy him out if the market holds. He got his own attorney, some guy from the union referral, folksy with a mustache like a broom bristle. They synced up over Zoom, hashing assets. That's when the third twist detonated, quiet, but explosive. Midway through disclosures, his lawyer emails mine a list of marital property. Everything standard. The minivan, mine, 80,000 miles, dent from that fender bender last hailstorm, the 401ks, his ballooned from overtime, mine, stagnant. Even the damn wedding china we'd used once for Easter brunch. But tacked on? A patent application, filed under his name 3 years back. For a widget, some efficiency tweak to the assembly line at his plant, reducing waste by 15%. Royalties pending if approved. Potential $50,000 annual. I stared at the screen in my home office, coffee going cold. He'd never mentioned it. Nights hunched over his laptop after shifts. I'd assumed fantasy football or porn. Brainstorming, he'd say if I peeked. Now this? Windfall hidden in plain sight like the bank account before. Called my lawyer mid-panic. Is this divisible? Hell yes, she said. Community property state, half's yours. But the kicker, the application was solo-authored, no spousal credit. His lawyer argued it was premarital ideation, conceived on company time, but his brain. Bull, I'd proofread his emails, bounced ideas off him during dinner. What if the gears meshed differently? Vague prompts that clicked now. Confrontation over coffee at the neutral spot, that chain with the bottomless mugs and vinyl booths scarred by years of spills. Kids with a sitter. The oldest's ballet recital loomed, tutu ironed and ready. He stirred his black drip, avoiding my eyes. I wanted it to be mine, he admitted. Something I built without input. Input, like our marriage was a suggestion box. Hurt bloomed fresh, all those supportive wife moments, editing his resume, cheering promotions, reduced to footnotes. You think I drag you down? I whispered, voice cracking. He backpedaled. No, it's just, the plant's toxic, layoffs looming. This was security. For us. Us, again. But the patent symbolized his silo, walls I'd never scaled. Legal tango ensued. Mediators. Neutral third party in a conference room with flickering fluorescents and vending machine coffee that tasted like regret. We sat across a formica table, lawyers flanking like sentries. His pushed for a 60-40 split on the patent, citing individual contribution. Mine countered with timelines. Idea sketched during our joint tax prep. First prototype in the garage we share equity on. Stalemate. Nights, I'd pace the kitchen, phone on speaker with my lawyer. Leverage the sleep apnea, stress from secrecy exacerbated it. Cold, but tactical. He texted, please. Don't make this war. I replied, you started the arms race. Summer hit humid and relentless, AC straining against the heat. Kids Camp, that STEM Day program with robot kits and slime recipes, ate the budget, but their joy was worth it. Pick up one afternoon, the youngest bounds up with a cardboard robot arm, grinning gap-toothed. Daddy helped design it, heart twinge. He'd volunteered that week, bridging his custody days. At drop-off later, he demoed the arm's claw, kids rapped. For a minute, we were co-parents, not adversaries. Patent stuff. Can we talk off record? He asked after. We walked the camp's perimeter trail, gravel crunching under sneakers. He confessed, the idea sparked from a fight we had, me griping about his wasted overtime. You said, invent something useful. So I did. Twist on twist. My offhand jab birthed his secret empire. Guilt gnawed. Was I the spark or the saboteur? We compromised, 50-50 on royalties, but he keeps filing rights. Lawyers high-fived virtually, papers signed in her office, my hand steady on the pen despite the tremor inside. Alimony adjusted up $200 for future uncertainties. House appraisal next, $320,000 value, but repairs needed. That sagging deck from winter neglect. Realtor tour was surreal, strangers poking cabinets while we hovered like ghosts. Cozy family home, she cooed, noting the kids' crayon murals on basement walls. Sold sign up by August, proceeds split after mortgage payoff. Me eyeing a 2-bedroom condo in the suburbs, him a 1-bed near the plant. But the emotional landmines kept detonating. Therapy solo now. Dr. Neutral recommended it post-patent fiasco. Sessions in her sunlit office, Fern on the windowsill, me unpacking resentment like luggage. He builds walls to protect, but they isolate, she said. Homework, letter to him, unsent on unmet needs. I wrote pages about feeling invisible in my own marriage, the marketing wins he glossed over, the intimacy drought that left me doubting my skin. Burned it in the sink, flames licking blue, smoke acrid as catharsis. Work surged, client loved the promo, bonus check for $1,200, first in years. Treated myself to a haircut, layers that framed my face without the mom bob drag. Friends noticed at the block party, beers and red Solo cups under string lights. You look fierce, one said, and for once I believed it. He showed too, kids in tow, polite nods across the yard. No drama, just distant orbits. Then, late September, whisper of fall, another curveball. His lawyer calls mine. Patent approved, first royalty check in 30 days. $12,000 total, our half $6,000 each. But attached? A clause he'd buried. If divorced, his ex gets priority on invention disputes. Ex? He has no exes pre-me. Digging revealed. College girlfriend. Brief. No kids. Why mention? His lawyer. Precautionary. Paranoia or premonition. I laughed, bitter. Our split scripting contingencies like a bad rom-com. But it crystallized. This wasn't just assets. It was autopsy of trust. As leaves turned, I prepped for the house closing, packing boxes labeled his tools, kitchen odds. Found his old journal from early marriage. Entries on building our empire, dreams scribbled in margins, teared up, then boxed it for him. Divorce loomed, but so did possibility. What if the landmines cleared a path to something new? Kids thriving, me evolving. His text that night. Proud of you, even now. Unprompted. I replied, same. Fragile bridge, but standing. Hey Reddit, Part 3's patent saga had you all hooked. Thanks for the wild theories. Closest was the Ghost X angle. October's chill settled in, leaves crunching underfoot like brittle regrets. House sold, closing imminent. My half funding the condo deposit. Kids hyped for new forts, but the quiet hit me. No more shared laundry piles or his midnight fridge raids. Therapy intensified. Weekly dives into Dr. Neutral's fern-filled office. We dissected the patent as a symptom of his independence fixation. Masks, she called them. Mine, the unflappable organizer. His, the stoic provider. Homework, mirror truths. Staring down my reflection, I listed, I'm terrified of solitude. I love with my whole mess. This body birthed miracles. It's battle-tested. Echoed back, it felt like cracking a safe. Socially, I tested waters. Bakery M hauled me to pottery nights at the rec center, wheels whirring, clay cool under palms. Hands heal, she said, wiping a smear from her cheek. My lopsided mug emerged, imperfect but mine. There, a circle formed, fresh divorcees, trading scars over post-class lattes. One stood out, graphic designer, 40-ish, ink-sleeved arms, eyes crinkling with easy humor. His split, mismatched wanderlust, she craved roots, he horizons. Coffee turned to park hikes, trails gold-flecked, him absorbing my rants on hidden funds without blueprints. Kiss came natural, under rustling oaks, a spark after numbness. But dreams yanked me back. Our first dance, his cologne lingering. Kids clocked it. Oldest ambushed post-drop-off. Mommy's got a new daddy? Kid logic sharp. I crouched. No swaps, just mommy adventuring solo. Ice cream sealed it, sprinkles melting fast. He caught wind at yogurt handoff, eyeing my clay-chipped mug. Creative outlet? Probing soft. Messy kind, I quipped. His faint smile lingered as he passed the sippy cup. Thanksgiving solo, rental table groaning under potluck, my overdone bird, sister's beans, his mom's cornbread evoking holidays past. Toasts clinked, new paths. Post-pumpkin pie, his mom cornered me. He's dipping toes out, casual, that redhead from trivia. Gut twist, not fury, but echo. Fair play in free fall. Mutual friend confirmed at the store. Saw him laughing over pints. Stung. My hikes tentative, his polished. Texted light. Heard you're circulating. Cheers. Back. You too. Kids spilled on art guy. We chuckled in a kid-free call, syncing Christmas swaps. Trivia therapy, he joked. Overthinks the fun. I shared the trail kiss. Healing hike, he murmured. Bridge mending, tentative. Then the shatter. Holiday bins in the garage yielded his Prius box. Curiosity pried it. College pics of him lanky-armed around a brunette. Letters aching with his shut-down post-parents split. Walls up, she wrote. His replies, sparse pleas for air, base layer, clinic envelope, depression flagged, meds ghosted for shame, pattern screamed, silos from the start. His mom on speed dial, he buried it deep. Pieces slotted, drift rooted in unhealed dark, apnea a branch. Texted him, old box unearthed, full talk now. Park bench, thermos steaming, ducks begging. He unloaded, folks' divorce crushed him, therapy ditched on lapsed coverage, work as crutch. Thought marriage fixed me, he said, voice raw, but shadows linger. Redhead, shield, my hikes, mine, tears mixed, shoulders brushing. Dr. Neutral refereed our couple's return, ghosts unpacked, his acrid split my endurance myth. Homework, agenda-free dates. First, Monopoly at my place, kids zonked. He bankrupted quick, laughter cracked genuine as I hoteled boardwalk. Knee touch led to lean in, kiss familiar strange, paused, slow, smart. December hybrid holidays, eve his, day mine, Lego hauls for kids, socks for me, cold feet recall, planner for him, org nod. Redhead archived, designer faded to texts, masks fracturing, mirrors sharpening, papers unsigned on counter. Snow dusted the lot as kids fort ed drifts. We watched, breaths fogging, shatter or shine, pivot pending. Epilogue drop, crew. Part 4's masks had you mirroring your own. Kintsugi marriages comment resonated. January 2026 frosted crisp, condo unpacked. Kids turfing rooms, robot realm versus unicorn HQ. Bay window nooks for story time. Smaller space, bigger breaths, tabby neighbor crashing for kibble. Vulnerability dates simmered low. Preserve walks, cocoa shared on mossy logs. His group therapy tamed depression tides. My burnout. Email curfews. Royalties trickled $3,000 quarterly. Mine to IRAs and finger paints, his to truck tune-up. Casual flings, shelved mutual. February blindsided. Routine check, blood draw amid carpools. Callback, HCG up, pregnant. Math reeled to Monopoly night, protection fogged by reconnection fog. Home test confirmed, stick shaking over porcelain. Midnight diner meet, slid it across, words choked. Hours. Fork dropped, face ashen. Careful? Not enough. Dawn trail, mud-sucking boots, river rush below. I want us, he said at Overlook. If you. No kneel, raw reach, masks shed, fractures bare. Me too. No vaults, packs forged, dual therapy, app audits, kid councils. Papers torched in a pit, embers freeing, light prenup for V2, his patent safeguard. Spring nausea-shadowed, ginger lifesavers, work remote Fridays, kids ultrasound obsessed, blob-crowned sketches. Grieved my solo sketch, coastal solos, unchecked climbs, but chose this anchor. Joys wove in, 20-week kicks, Morse coding under his palm. Spare room sage-dabbed, crib-wrenched joint, laughter over stripped screws. Gulf trip, waves turquoise, boogie boards for 3, 4 pending. He coached wipeouts, I umbrella napped, novel tented. October stormed in, induction post fake-out, taco blame, ER giggles. Labor grueling, 14 hours, epi glitch, her wail dawn sharp. 7 pounds, dark wisps, grip vice tight. He cord snipped, tears tracing, our wild card. Recovery haze, stitches, snatch sleep, hormone waves, tag-teamed feeds, his burps sinking my pumps, road trip playlist low. Year later, she's wobbling chaos into sibling duos. Redo, vows backyard lit, No bling but bone-deep oaths. Therapy threads gold through cracks, resilient seams. Work lead promoted hybrid flex. His layoff pivoted consulting, dad duties dialed. Secrets, quarterly laughs over trust scans. Fam, no solo phoenix or villain fall, just mended mess, multiplied. Twists whispered, drift defies fate, masks choke, shocks steer. Mid-fray, grip, light fractures brighter. Stories welcome, your turns.